On today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to replace your bathroom faucet as well as the pop-up assembly. So what you want to do is turn off the angle stops, and this is going to stop the water supply to your faucet. Having problems getting them turned off, go to my channel. I do have a video showing you how to help in a situation where the angle stop is stuck, or if you decide that you want to replace the angle stop, I have those posted on my channel as well. Assume because the angle stop is in the off position that the water is off. You want to test it, so you want to turn the water on to your faucet. You can see here we do not have any water pressure. At this point I have a 2-gallon bucket and I have a rag. Keep that close by. As we're removing the supply lines, water is going to fall from the line itself and possibly from the angle stop. So just keep the bucket underneath the angle stop. You can see here, water is starting to drip. Now I'm loosening the P-trap from the pop-up assembly. At this point, we've disconnected our lines, our supply lines. We've loosened our P-trap from our pop-up assembly. The way we proceed is really going to be based on what kind of sink you have. So on this one just pretty much just drops in and just kind of sits there. And usually like a caulk or some type of adhesive holds it in. And there's some sinks that actually have a clip that hold the sink in. That's similar to a clip like this. At this point, I'm going to pull the sink, and then we're going to remove our faucet and our pop-up. And this will just kind of give you just a close-up view so you can kind of get an idea of what you're going to be doing. If you're not able to pull your sink for any reason, you're going to have to do the process while you're laying on your back. Here we removed our faucet, and depending on what type of model you have in there, it may vary. Remove my lock nut and my washer from the old P-trap. Start removing our old pop-up assembly. And again, as I said, depending on the make and model you have, it'll vary. You just want to disassemble whatever it is that you have on yours. Specific model, you can see the threading here. This actual top ties in. When I went to loosen it, it actually just broke right off. Faucet, it actually twists out. We're going to clean this drain portion here as well. Tricks I like to use, especially when we're dealing with calcium and rust deposit, I like to take this sandpaper. This is just very low grit sandpaper, and I'm barely just tapping the surface, and you can see here I'm able to kind of remove any of that buildup. Don't have to be too abrasive. We're going to assemble our drain first. This is the pop-up. This is going to be different than what we actually had on the other one. You can see here this is actually one piece, the entire drain. Twist off this bottom portion, and again, depending on what faucet and brand you buy, it's going to vary. Move this lock nut, this washer, and this rubber gasket. Some plumber's putty. I'm basically going to just put plumber's putty right underneath the ring of the drain. Insert our drain, and then I'm going to flip the sink on the other side so we can make our connections. Look at my connections. I'm using one hand to hold the drain down. I worked my gasket in, my washer. Here's the lock nut. I'm going to hold my drain, and I'm going to use my channel locks, and I'm going to slowly just make my connection nice and tight. You don't want to over torque it, you don't want to over tighten it. You do want to check is to make sure that your drain is in the center. I'm going to put some plumber's tape on my threading. Again, just hand tightening it should suffice. Make sure when you're lining it up that your pop-up stick right here is going to be in the back where your faucet is going to be. Here I have my faucet set, and now I'm going to make my connections to fasten it to my sink. And depending on the make and model, the way you assemble it will vary. Before tightening it, just make sure that your drain and your faucet is centered. To ensure that it's centered, go ahead and tighten your connections. Now we're going to put in our pop-up. Here, you just want to make sure that it's working with your drain. Don't have to over tighten it, hand tightening will be fine. We're just going to test it just to make sure that our drain pops up and down with ease. We're going to attach our supply lines. I do recommend, if you do have the plastic ones, that you do discard them. I'm going to tighten my connections. We have our washer and our ring. We're going to put that back in. We're going to reconnect our supply lines, and then we're going to re-secure our pop-up onto our drain assembly. Made your connections, go ahead and turn the water on. Now that we have our supply lines connected and we do have pressure, water running in through the supply lines to the faucet, you want to ensure that you have no leaks. What we're going to do is we're going to check for leaks on the drain. A lot of times guys just run the faucet and they don't realize that the water is just going right down. The best way to find for a leak is to actually close the drain, let the faucet fill up, and then let it flood every crevice of the drain. When I have it filled, I'm going to turn it off, and then from the bottom I'm going to pull the drain. And you can see here that we do not have any leaks. Again, as I said, I was able to pull the sink. If you're not able to, unfortunately, you will have to do this work while you're underneath the sink. And I realize it's not pleasant, but it's still the same procedure that you would do if you followed my video. If this video was a help, if it was informational, please subscribe.